The story began with curiosity and passion for a ball, and turned into a story of a great talent, stuck in a limited body, striving to prove himself and his abilities. It's a story of mental and physical development together. A story of a young man who wants to please his countrymen after leaving them to achieve his dreams. This is the story of the beginning of Messi's career and how he ascended to the top of football.
Immens Messi, encara 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 Messi. Mamma mia, Leo Messi!
In the province of Santa Fe, particularly in the city of Rosario, Lionel Messi started his footballing career at a very young age. He always played with his older brothers Rodrigo and Mateus, and at 5 years of age, he played with the local Grandoli youth team. And despite his age, you can already see his change of pace and great dribbling skills. And usually coaches at that level would emphasize passing the ball, but nobody taught that to Messi. Lionel played almost 2 years at Grandoli, and they won all their matches. And in every training session, Lionel was disciplined and reserved. Gonzalo Diaz, a teammate of Lionel at Grandoli, said that there were many talented players that played at the club, but they lacked the perseverance in training. His father Jorge had a say in this. His philosophy was simple: work hard, be persistent, and show humility, and you can achieve your goals. Jorge was also devouring his sons daily with VHS tapes of Maradona, and was Leo's second coach in Grandoli as well. The writer Guillaume Balaguer said in his biography about Messi that his father was his #1 idol. He was his mentor, hero, and he had absolute trust in him. Jorge was also the person who decided to transfer Leo to one of Argentina's big clubs, Newell's Old Boys. Lionel was a key part of what was later called the Machine of '87, an unbeatable youth side.
¿Apellido?
Lionel Messi.
El mejor jugador de la cancha, fuiste elegido por nosotros, ¿lo sabías?
No.
2 goles hiciste, ¿no es cierto, Messi? ¿A quién le querés dedicar este campeonato?
A mi papá, a mi tío y a toda mi familia, a todos los que me conocen.
One of the players' fathers mentioned that Messi scored approximately 100 goals per season, which also meant that Leo had scored almost 500 goals with the team between 1994 to 2000. But there was an issue. At the age of 10, Lionel's parents decided to consult a specialist after the advice of one of Newell's directors. They noticed that Lionel was smaller than the other kids, as he was about 10 centimeters shorter than the average kid at his age group. They went to Dr. Diego Schwarnstein in January of 1997, and the diagnosis took about 6 months to determine Leo's problem: partial growth hormone deficit. So Lionel had to inject himself every day with the biosynthetic growth hormone starting from January of '98. And it was not cheap. It costed the Messi family between $1,000 to $1,500 a month. Fortunately for his father Jorge, he worked for a state-owned steel company, so insurance covered the treatment's cost for the first 2 years. But Argentina's economy was collapsing in the late 1990s, and after the insurance stopped covering the treatment, Jorge was struggling to make ends meet. He went to Old Boys for support, as the club president Sergio Almiron sent funds to Jorge on a monthly basis, but the amounts varied. Jorge was asking for more, but there was no response from the club. He tried pressuring the club by taking Lionel for a trial at River Plate. Newell's tried to solve the problem immediately, but in the end, they just couldn't bear the full cost of the treatment. Everything was pushing Jorge toward making a very difficult decision. At that time, numerous Argentinian families were fleeing the country for a better life after the economic disaster. Young footballers within big Argentinian clubs were considered assets and ways to liquidate. And for Jorge and his son Lionel, it was well worth the risk. After the trial with River, an agent called Horacio Gagioli was informed of Messi's talents. He had a relationship with the prestigious Catalan agent Josep Manguela, whom was very close to Barcelona and was responsible for Maradona's transfer to the Blaugrana in 1982. Horacio asked for tapes of Lionel from Jorge and sent them to Manguela's office. Then Manguela talked to his friend and then Barca sporting director Carlos Rexach and insisted on setting up a trial for Lionel. Jorge and his son Lionel flew to Barcelona in 2000 for the trials, and in each session, Lionel gave it his all and was impressive, but there was no decision from the club. When Rexach came back from the Olympics, he had the chance to see Messi at the end of his trial. He was convinced and thought that Barcelona had to sign the youngster immediately. But there were some doubts inside the club. No one wanted to bear the responsibility of a family that risked everything and left their home for this opportunity. And success was not guaranteed, and there were no guarantees that all the costs behind signing Lionel would be repaid on the field. So Jorge and his son Leo went back to Argentina in the beginning of October after missing way too many school days. Many factors resulted in Barcelona stalling the signing of Messi. First, Lionel was a small foreign boy who was only 13 years old, and La Masia directors at that time preferred local players who were around 15 or even 16 years of age. Second, Barcelona had to find his father some work in accordance with FIFA regulations, which banned any signing of foreign players under 18 unless he was accompanied by a parent. Jorge also asked to live with his son in an apartment outside of La Masia's campus. Third, Barcelona was struggling with several first-team issues after their superstar Figo had left. So signing a 13-year-old foreigner was not one of their priorities, especially with all the costs attached to Messi from hormone treatment to private accommodation. After 2 months had passed without a response from Barcelona, and with Jorge getting more frustrated by the minute, Rexach came up with a solution to calm things down. With the presence of Manguela and Horacio with Rexach at the Pompeia tennis club, Carlos signed a napkin. And he wrote on that napkin that he was committed to the signing of Messi as per the previously agreed figures, and regardless of opinions on the contrary. That last phrase is crucial, as it points to some board members who were against the idea of signing Lionel and all the various costs attached to the youngster. It was an important step before signing the first official contract, and in January of 2001, all parties agreed on the signing after President Joan Gaspar gave his final nod on all of Jorge and Messi's requests, including the hormone treatment. Jorge and Lionel took their first big step towards achieving their goals, but there were still some difficulties. Lionel broke his left fibula in only his second match, and when he came back 2 months later, he had an ankle injury straight away. And Leo's mother had to go back to Argentina, as living in Catalonia was proving to be difficult for his brothers and his little sister. It was a tough period for Lionel that made him rethink his future. Either he goes back with his family to Argentina, or split his family and stay with his father in Barcelona. But he insisted on staying and was determined to achieve his dream. Finally, the focus was back to football. In football and mental terms, Lionel was evolving very quickly in Barcelona's various age groups. And in physical terms, Lionel was significantly growing in front of the coach's eyes, as he grew 29 centimeters in a few months. He had a fantastic attitude towards training and had only football to look forward to, as he was alone with his father, away from his friends and family, in a foreign city and in a foreign land. It was a tough situation, but that kept him focused only on playing football. In the 2001-2002 season, Lionel played in the famous Junior B team alongside names such as Fabregas and Gerard Piqué. That season also saw the young manager Tito Vilanova taking over the team. In the following season, and under the coach Alex Garcia, Lionel started to truly shine, as he played in every match and was the top goal scorer of the team. Garcia used to experiment with Messi in many different positions within the lineup, but Leo preferred to play centrally behind the striker and not stuck on the wings. That team won every single title at hand, and despite the weak scouting system in 2003 compared to today, that Cadet A side attracts some eye.